Hi, third graders. For the past few days, you have been doing great work with similes and metaphors. You can identify them, you can think a little bit about what they mean, and you can write some yourself. In fact, here are some, I thought I would just read a few of the examples of similes and metaphors that you wrote and some of your classmates wrote. Her eyes were deep, overwhelming holes. That was a metaphor because her eyes were being compared to holes. She is as black as the night. It's a simile using like or as. Oreo is a blanket full of pillows. So comparing an animal to a blanket. So that was a metaphor. Um, she is as wild as a hungry ocelot hunting for its prey. Isn't that a great picture? Being compared to a hungry ocelot hunting for its prey. Um, the cat is a sneaky spy. You can kind of picture the cat stalking because that was a metaphor comparing the cat to a sneaky spy. So great work with your use of similes and metaphors. And I think now that you can write them, you also hopefully will notice them in texts that you're reading and can think about what they mean when the author is trying to what that author is trying to say through that use of a simile or metaphor. So now today we're going to add personification. So today's learning target is just that you can identify the use of personification. So grab your reading notebook where you took your notes on simile and metaphors, and today we're going to add personification. So you can see on my chart, I had to squish it in there to add to the same chart. So if you can do the same thing in your notebook, do that. Add the definition of personification. If you ran out of room and you want to go to the next page, just start another tree map on the next page in your notebook. But personification is when non human things are given human qualities. So pause the video and write that down in your notebook, add it to your notes, and then come back. So authors, again, will use personification when they want to describe. Personally, I feel like authors use personification is especially good, not only for creating that visual in your head of what something might look like, but I feel like personification invokes some feelings. When you're giving non-human things some human qualities, I think the author's really trying to invoke a reader's feelings. And so I have an example of a book I'd like to read to you that is personification. This is called The Dark, and it's written by Lemony Snicket. I know a lot of you are familiar with this author, so and have enjoyed chapter books by this author. So this is about it's about the dark. It's about a boy named Laszlo who's afraid of the dark. So today we're identifying personification. So listen for how the dark is given human qualities, things humans do. Laszlo was afraid of the dark. The dark lived in the same house as Laszlo, a big place with a creaky roof, smooth cold windows, and several sets of stairs. Sometimes the dark hid in the closet. Sometimes it sat behind the shower curtain. But mostly it spent its time in the basement. All day long, the dark would wait in a distant corner, far from the squeaks and rattles of the washing machine, pressed up against some old damp boxes and a chest of drawers nobody ever opened. At night, of course, the dark went out and spread itself against the windows and doors of Laszlo's house. But in the morning, the dark would be back in the basement where it belonged. Laszlo would peek at the dark every morning. "Hi," he would say. "Hi, dark." Laszlo thought that if he visited the dark in the dark's room, maybe the dark wouldn't come visit him in his room. But one night, it did. Laszlo, the dark said in the dark. The voice of the dark was creaky as the roof of the house and as smooth and cold as the windows, and even though the dark was right next to Laszlo, the voice seemed very far away. "What do you want?" asked Laszlo. "I want to show you something," said the dark. So are you hearing how the dark is doing human things? It's hiding, it's spreading, it's creeping, it's talking. In here? No, said the dark. Here? No, said the dark. Downstairs. Downstairs? Yes, said the dark. In Laszlo's living room was the biggest window in the house. Laszlo looked out at all the dark outside. Above him, the roof creaked and he closed his eyes. Now the dark was all Laszlo could see. No, said the dark again. Not there. Down here. In the basement? Asked Laszlo. Yes, said the dark. Laszlo had never dared come to the dark's room at night. Come closer, said the dark. Laszlo came closer. Even closer, said the dark. You might be afraid of the dark, but the dark is not afraid of you. That's why the dark is always close by. The dark peeks around the corner and waits behind the door, and you can see the dark up in the sky almost every night, gazing down at you as you gaze up at the stars. Without a creaky roof, the rain would fall on your bed, and without a smooth, cold window, you could never see outside. And without a set of stairs, you could never go into the basement where the dark spends its time. Without a closet, you would have nowhere to put your shoes. And without a shower curtain, you would splash water all over the bathroom. And without the dark, everything would be light, and you would never know if you needed a light bulb. Bottom drawer, said the dark. What? Bottom drawer, said the dark. Open the bottom drawer. Thank you, said Laszlo. You're welcome, said the dark. By the time Laszlo got back into bed, the dark was no longer in his room, except when he closed his eyes to go to sleep. The next morning, Laszlo visited the dark in the basement. Hi, he said. Hi, dark. The dark didn't answer. But the bottom drawer was still open, so it looked like something in the corner was smiling. The dark kept on living with Laszlo, but it never bothered him again. So this whole book is a personification because the dark is something non-human. It's non-living. But throughout the book, it was given human qualities or doing human things. Like right away, it was hiding in the closet. And the dark sat behind the shower curtain. So sitting, hiding, those are actions that humans would do. But when the dark is doing it, I feel like the author was trying to give us a feeling, that hiding, a little bit scary because we know at the beginning he was afraid of the dark. So we kind of get that sense of the fear, that sneakiness and the fear. But then at the end, the dark kept on living with Laszlo, but it never bothered him again. So it has that happy ending. The dark helped the boy overcome his fear of the dark. And so that the whole story about or using personification. Your task today is just to practice identifying personification, noticing when an author is using it, noticing when there's something non human, some kind of an object that is given human qualities. So there's a few things for you to practice with. And one of them today includes vocabulary. With this whole coronavirus vocabulary, that's the videos that I tend to play with all the fun songs and everything. They have opened up student access, and so I hope it works. I put it something in your reading classroom. Supposedly, you should be able to go in and watch the video on personification, and then there's a vocabulary game to play. So I hope that works. So that's something you can do. And there's another quizzes there to help you practice this skill. And then your must do is to show that you can identify. There's a poem for you to do some highlighting of the use of personification. So you're identifying when or you're noticing when personification is being used. So have fun.